The Castle by Franz Kafka. Chapter 8. I am your narrator. At first, Kay was glad to have escaped from the crush of the maids and the assistants in the warm room. It was freezing a little. The snow was firmer, the going easier. But already darkness was actually beginning to fall, and he hastened his steps. The castle, whose contours were already beginning to dissolve, lay silent as ever. Never yet had Kay seen there the slightest sign of life. Perhaps it was quite impossible to recognize anything at that distance, and yet the eye demanded it and could not endure that stillness. When Kay looked at the castle, often it seemed to him as if he were observing someone who sat quietly there, gazing in front of him, not lost in thought, and so oblivious of everything, but free and untroubled, as if he were alone, with nobody to observe him, and yet must notice that he was observed, and all the same remained with his calm, not even slightly disturbed, and really, one did not know whether it was cause or effect. The gaze of the observer could not remain concentrated there, but slid away. This impression today was strengthened still further by the early dusk. The longer he looked, the less he could make out, and the deeper everything was lost in the twilight. Just as Kay reached the Herrenhof, which was still unlighted, a window was opened in the first story, and a stout, smooth-shaven young man in a fur coat leaned out and then remained at the window. He did not seem to make the slightest response to Kay's greeting. Neither in the hall nor in the tap room did Kay meet anybody. The smell of stale beer was still worse than the last time. Such a state of things was never allowed, even in the inn by the bridge. Kay went straight over to the door through which he had observed Clam, and lifted the latch cautiously. But the door was barred. Then he felt for the place where the peephole was. But the pin, apparently, was fitted so well that he could not find the place. So he struck a match. He was startled by a cry. In the corner between the door and the till, near the fire, a young girl was crouching and staring at him in the flare of the match, with partially open, sleep-drunken eyes. She was evidently Frida's successor. She soon collected herself and switched on the electric light. Her expression was cross. Then she recognized Kay. "Ah, the land surveyor," she said, smiling, held out her hand and introduced herself. "My name is Pepi." She was small, red-cheeked, plump. Her opulent reddish-golden hair was twisted into a strong plait, yet some of it escaped and curled round her temples. She was wearing a dress of grey, shimmering material, falling in straight lines, which did not suit her in the least. At the foot it was drawn together by a childishly clumsy silken band with tassels falling from it, which impeded her movements. She inquired after Frida and asked whether she would come back soon. It was a question which verged on insolence. As soon as Frida went away, she said, next, I was called here urgently because they couldn't find anybody suitable at the moment. I've been a chambermaid till now, but this isn't a change for the better. There's lots of evening and night work in this job. It's very tiring. I don't think I'll be able to stand it. I'm not surprised Frida threw it up. Frida was very happy here, said Kay, to make her aware definitely of the difference between Frida and herself, which she did not seem to appreciate. Don't you believe her, said Pepi. Frida can keep a straight face better than other people can. She doesn't admit what she doesn't want to admit, and so nobody noticed that she had anything to admit. I've been in service here with her several years already. We've slept together all that time in the same bed. Yet I'm not intimate with her, and by now I'm quite out of her thoughts, that's certain. Perhaps her only friend is the old landlady of the Bridge Inn, and that tells a story too. Frida is my fiancée, said Kay, searching at the same time for the peephole in the door. I know, said Pepi. That's the reason why I've told you. Otherwise it wouldn't have any interest for you. I understand, said Kay. You mean that I should be proud to have won such a reticent girl? That's so, said she, laughing triumphantly, as if she had established a secret understanding with Kay regarding Frida. But it was not her actual words that troubled Kay and deflected him for a little from his search, but rather her appearance and her presence in this place. Certainly she was much younger than Frida, almost a child still, and her clothes were ludicrous. She had obviously dressed in accordance with the exaggerated notions which she had of the importance of a barmaid's position. And these notions were right enough in their way in her, for this position, of which she was still incapable, had come to her unearned and unexpectedly, and only for the time being. Not even the leather ratulique, which Frida always wore on her belt and had been entrusted to her, and her ostensible dissatisfaction with the position was nothing but showing off. And yet, in spite of her childish mind, she too apparently had connections with the castle. If she was not lying, she had been a chambermaid. Without being aware of what she possessed, she slept through the days here. And though, if he took this tiny, plump, slightly round-backed creature in his arms, he could not extort from her what she possessed, yet that could bring him in contact with it and inspirit him for his difficult task. Then could her case now be much the same as Frida's? Oh no, it was different. One only had to think of Frida's look to know that Kay would never have touched Pepi. All the same, he had to lower his eyes for a little now, so greedily was he staring at her. "It's against orders for the lights to be on," said Pepi, switching it off again. "I only turned it on because you gave me such a fright. What do you want here, really? Did Frida forget anything?" "Yes," said Kay, pointing to the door. "A table cover. A white embroidered table cover, here in the next room." "Yes, her table cover," said Pepi. "I remember it, a pretty piece of work. I helped with it myself, but it can hardly be in that room." "Frida thinks it is." "Who lives in it then?" asked Kay. "Nobody," said Pepi. "It's the gentleman's room. The gentlemen eat and drink there. That is, it's reserved for that, but most of them remain upstairs in their rooms." "If I knew," said Kay, "that nobody was in there just now, I would very much go in and have a look for the table cover. But one can't be certain. Clam, for instance, is often in the habit of sitting there." "Clam is certainly not there now," said Pepi. "He's making ready to leave this minute. The sledge is waiting for him in the yard."